What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. I want to remind you guys of the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley. And Tiege Hanley was letting me know that, hey, hold on for a second, because y'all been signing up. It's been crazy. I know a lot of you guys have been getting rid of the Tiege pack that y'all originally was rocking with these other spaces and these other sites, and y'all was rocking with the Anton Daniels Tiege pack. And so they hit me up and they said, Anton, your people got up all of these nail clippers and they sold out of that one particular free product, but we got some other free products for you. And I told y'all yesterday, I said, listen, y'all got to give me something else. It's not just a free product. You got to make sure that my people is really, really supported because they rock with you. They know that the product is good, but they're rocking with you because they understand that y'all rocking with me. They said, all right, cool. I got you, Anton. 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life. 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life, and you get the free gift. Now, you may not necessarily get the nail clippers. They said they're coming back with those. They're going to restock them. But you definitely get 40% off your first order plus the 20% off for life and the free gift. If y'all rocking with any other Tiege pack, if you've been trying to question whether or not this makes sense for you, this is definitely your moment, definitely your time. Ladies, get it for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. Make sure that you sign up. Make sure that you get your Tiege pack and take care of business. Link is in the description. Make sure you use that Tiege pack. It's updated for May in particular. Do not waste a moment of your time. Make sure you get it because I don't know how long I can handcuff my reps over there at Tiege Hanley and telling them to do the thing that's in y'all best interest, all right? So I got mines. I hope you get yours. Ladies, get it for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. 40% off your first order. That's almost half off. Plus 20% off for life. And then in addition to that, you get your free gift. Come on, man. Let's not waste no time. Detroit, stand up. Chicago, stand up. LA, stand up. New York, stand up. Miami, stand up. Houston, all of the cities across the United States of America and outside of the continental United States. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. We are Tiege Bag Chasers, and we're going to continue to run it up. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. It is Thursday, May 2nd, 2024, year of our Lord. Let me get a round of applause for everybody that realized when they woke up this morning that they got another opportunity to do great things. I also want to make sure that I give y'all credit and acknowledgement for showing up for Stock Club today. Yeah. We got a lot of new bag chasers. We got a lot of people that were participated in the Stock Club. We needed to bring some people up to speed because they was new to the congregation, but we definitely want to keep you informed, especially when it comes to the fundamentals of what you need in order to make the best and the brightest future for yourself, for your family, for your children, all of that. So shout out to the new chasers. Let me give a little bit of acknowledgement to y'all that signed up yesterday on the first day of the year or the first day of the month. You know the best day to sign up for the bag chasers is the beginning of the month. Let me help you to understand something. One thing is for sure, and two things is for certain. What is the second best day to sign up for the Patreon? It's the second day of the month, all right? So you may have missed the first day, but guess what? We got you. It unlocks all of the content inside of the Patreon. And I got a new video that's dropping for y'all this weekend and 5 videos that's dropping for y'all in addition to the live streams that we got going on with Stock Club this month in particular. And then you unlock everything else that came before that. So if y'all not a part of the Patreon, if you're not tapped into the Discord, the link to the Discord is in the description of any of the most recent videos in the Patreon. You're severely missing out. Make sure you sign up for the Bag Chasers. We got meetups that Q and Rita is planning right now. And so we'll be coming to y'all city very, very soon. I might even bring my dog 2K. Yeah, ladies is coming with me. You know I'm going to bring my ladies. But the fellas, we're going to figure it out, all right? I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. If y'all not a part of the Patreon, the link is in the description. Let's get started with the show. What up, friends and family? I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Listen, we got another opportunity to do great things. I got my Detroit FC, City FC shirt. Y'all don't know about Detroit FC. So Detroit FC is actually a soccer club. Y'all like to call it football outside of the United States of America, but we call it soccer here within the continental United States of America. Most of us do anyways. And so I'm a heavy supporter of Detroit City FC. If y'all have ever been to a game, if you are a part of the Metro Detroit area, they have their games inside of Hamtramck, which is a city inside of Detroit. And it's a small stadium that's been refurbished and redone by the people within the city because they came together and said, we want our stuff to be dope. And it's awesome. It's one of the most crazy, fun, dedicated fans that I've ever seen in my entire life. And if you've never been to a soccer game and you're part of the Metro Detroit area, make sure you go and check out the Detroit City FC. It's a dope organization. What's up, y'all? What's happening? What up? What up? What up? I see my friends. I see Kojak. I see DLC. Baker's Block Podcast says, when you coming to Portland? Woo, I heard it was rough over there in Portland. I don't know. Y'all tell me what I should do. Let me give an acknowledgement to the people that contributed to the platform. I definitely want to acknowledge y'all. Shout out to my guy, Mike That Dude. Man, the Mike That Dude is on fire. I also want to give an acknowledgement to my dog, Michael. Shout out to Michael, also supporting the platform. I want to give an acknowledgement to my dog, Clay Black. Clay Black, what up, 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 what up? Shout out to the supporters of the platform. I appreciate y'all. All right, we got a long show today. I'm going to try to keep it within 2 hours, but it's going to force me to really be concise about my words. I'm going to try to let the videos play through and then give my reaction. But we got to give you guys some update on what's going on out in these streets, man. So the first thing that we like to do is we like to get y'all with quick hits. Do y'all know what quick hits is? Do y'all already know what I'm going to say when it comes to quick hits? Nah. Quick hits is a segment of the show that we like to make sure that we keep you guys informed on what's happening out in these streets, man. The streets. The quick hit streets, y'all. Quick hits is a segment of the show that we like to keep y'all informed on what's happening out in these streets. And we got to make sure that we take care of y'all, all right? So let me make sure I get that quick hits up there really quickly. All right, quick hits. Let's get it popping, y'all. First things first on quick hits, ladies and gentlemen, is Los Angeles Metro declares a safety emergency. Check it out.
Officials at LA Metro have declared an emergency over the safety of the city's public transit system. A hearing was held today to address the rise in violence. On Monday, a passenger was stabbed to death on a train in Universal City, and yesterday there was another stabbing on the Blue Line at Washington Boulevard and Central Avenue. Earlier this month, a bus driver was stabbed by a passenger in Willowbrook. Today, LA Metro officials authorized emergency approval to retrofit its 2,000 buses with shatterproof glass barriers around transit drivers.
I will not ride our transit system by myself. I am afraid. And
Wait. Catherine, voice is a little deep. Shout out to Slant Sells Cars and everybody that's contributed into the platform. Ben Flacco, I appreciate you. Also, Jay Johnson, I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. That voice was a little deep. Is it Catherine or is it Cat Williams? You know what I'm saying? Listen, in LA, you can never be too sure. In California, you can never be too sure. Let me just play that over because I try to pride myself in the idea that I'm able to identify what I'm looking at when I'm looking at it. But sometimes I get fooled. Let me see something.
I will not ride our transit system by myself. I am afraid, and I sit on Metro, but I will not ride it.
We're going to give it the benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying?
Despite the recent crime wave, ridership is up, and some crime statistics are actually down. But observers say perception is everything, and rail line expansion does no good if riders don't feel safe.
Hey, I didn't even think that Los Angeles really had a robust public transportation system anyways. You know what I'm saying? So I know that it's always going to be buses everywhere and stuff like that, but it's very, very rare that you hear anybody talking about how awesome LA's metro transportation system is. But they trying to outfit all of the buses with bulletproof glass. Man, what is LA and what is California becoming? Man, listen, I know that Gavin Newsom at some point is going to try to run for president of the United States of America. However, if y'all ever vote this guy back, well, y'all already didn't vote him in. already didn't voted him in as governor of California. So who knows what can happen in this great state and this great city of California and Los Angeles. In addition to that, ladies and gentlemen, a woman was fired by the University of Minnesota. Now, they're going to say U of M, but I want y'all to realize it's not U of M, University of Michigan. It's the University of Minnesota. A woman was fired by the University of Minnesota by an Instagram post. Y'all sent this to me. I want to check this out.
A former U of M employee is suing the university for firing her over a social media post criticizing Israel's war against Hamas. The U defends its actions, but the woman and her lawyers say her termination violates her civil rights. John Croman has more.
And I'm really, really scared.
Mashal Shahzad fought back tears as she described being fired by the U of M from her job as Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Manager at the School of Public Health.
What happened?
Her job is the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Manager. Okay, first of all, I knew it wasn't going to take long before I started to tear this whole review video down. It's been 29 seconds. Ain't even been a full 30 seconds. And we already going into this talking about she's a Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Manager. Obviously, them lips got a whole lot of injections inside of them. And she looked like she for the streets. They need to just get rid of the whole division in the first place. What is a diverse... Man, hold on, look. What is a Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Manager? And why do every time a woman get fired and she comes up and she's trying to get her job back, she throws a whole bunch of hissy fits and fake tears? I ain't seen a tear come out of her face yet. Not one tear. She got them thick eyebrows, though. And y'all got to stop getting these injections. Good God. Y'all got to stop getting these injections. I don't know what y'all doing to y'all face, y'all lips. It's crazy. We ain't even got to why she got fired yet.
To me was wrong. Legally, factually, emotionally.
Shahzad, a Muslim woman from an Afghani immigrant family, has been vocal about her criticism of Israel's military campaign in Gaza. At a protest in Barcelona, Spain in December, she posted several photos to her private Instagram account accusing Israel of genocide.
Not private.
The caption on said post was, "This is not a conflict. This is not a war. This is genocide."
It was automatically reposted to Facebook, and someone complained to the U of M that another protester in the background held an Israeli flag with swastikas painted on it.
Good.
2 days
Reporter.
later, Shahzad's managers cited that post and placed her on paid leave, and on January 12th informed her she'd been fired.
It was purposefully and intentionally framed as anti-Semitism, which is not at all something that I support.
The university tells us because this matter is under litigation, there's a limit to how much they can say about it, but they did share with us the termination letter. Public Health School Dean Melinda Pettigrew wrote, "I find that continuing your employment would create a real risk of significant disruption to school and university activities.
Let me back that up.
Public Health School Dean Melinda Pettigrew.
All right, it says, I have reviewed the Human Resources Investigation report regarding the concerns raised about your recent conduct. I have also reviewed the underlying materials regarding the matter, including the character references submitted on your behalf. The material facts, as confirmed through the investigation, are as follows. On December 11, 2023, the university received a report from an outside party expressing concerns about materials allegedly posted by you on social media. The materials included an image of you standing in front of an Israeli flag and red swastikas painted on it. When interviewed, you confirmed that you posted the materials. You explained that the flag image was captured at a protest you attended in Barcelona, Spain on December 9, 2023. You said you thought you only had posted it on private social media page, but despite this, the content was openly accessible to others. You said you understood the insensitivity of posting the image. You expressed regret, recognizing the post's potential harm. You also said you had taken the image down. I recognize and respect the rights of the university employees to comment on matters of public concern. However, I must balance those interests against the school's need to conduct its business effectively without disruption, meaning you are a representation, and what you do publicly affects them privately. Let's continue. Activities. This is particularly true given the current climate around the Israeli-Palestinian conflict within the university community and around the globe, and the highly inflammatory nature of the image you posted as program manager for diversity, equity, and inclusion at the school. Your conduct directly undermines your credibility in this role. Well spoken. As a result, I find that continuing your employment would disrupt the school's ability to operate credibly in the DEI arena and effectively supporting all members of the school's community. In light of these conclusions, please be advised, you will fail probation. Your last day work is today, June 10th. You will be placed on an unpaid leave of absence until the close of the business on January 24th. Wow, they gave her a whole year. She should have been looking for a whole nother job after a year. At which time your employment will be terminated. Signed, Dean Melinda Pettigrew. Shout out to Melinda. You gonna learn today. See, a lot of y'all keep putting y'all jobs at risk by being out here in these streets. I keep trying to tell you, what you post on social media is full game, and you did not think that it was private. You knew it was public. You was looking for likes. You was looking for support. You got your makeup done. You got your filters off, and now you wanted to jump out here in these streets, man, and they let you know the streets don't love you.
Wrote, I find that continuing your employment would create a real risk of significant disruption to school and university activities. This is particularly true given the current climate around the Israeli-Palestinian conflict with the university community and around the globe and the highly inflammatory nature of the image you posted.
Shock your conscience that you can get fired for a picture you took.
Shahzad's seeking.
It's always somebody that ain't even, listen, Umar Johnson, come get your people that's a part of the community.
Her old job back plus monetary damages.
Oh, she for the street.
In Minneapolis, John Croman, Care 11.
She for the streets. So she look like she can go over to Dubai though.
Her old job back plus monetary damages.
Yeah.
In Minneapolis, John Croman, Care 11 News.
Don't worry about it. We're going to get you some butt injections. We're going to get you a BBL down there in the Dominican Republic or Miami. Going to fly you out to Dubai on a private flight. Listen, I would love to interview her on a live stream. Listen, you can't come sit on the couch. My black couch is special. You got to be of a certain ilk to end up on a black couch. But we love to get her on the platform. We're going to reach out to her and see if we can get her and her diversity, equity, and inclusion and have a conversation with her to better understand why it is that she got fired. But anyways, in addition to that, last but not least, on Quick Hits, Chicago. Governor J.B. Pritzker. Now, y'all know that Chicago recently unveiled this whole thing where they trying to build this stadium and it's going to cost all of these billions of dollars. But guess what? Representative over in Governor Pritzker's office said this ain't even a non-starter. We not even going to entertain this foolishness. Chicago, y'all just can't get it together, can y'all?
Just a week after the Bears released plans for a new stadium, they meet in a closed-door meeting with Governor Pritzker's staff in hopes of winning key support.
CBS 2's Sabrina Franza is live in the newsroom with a look at what's happening behind the scenes. Sabrina.
Joe, Erica, the meeting itself was not in person. It was actually on WebEx. The governor's chief of staff and deputy governor were there, but not the governor himself, who has been very vocal about his skepticism for the billions-dollar project that would take years to build, and experts say decades to pay for. Lots of excitement at last week's public announcement from Bears President Kevin Warren and Mayor Brandon Johnson.
And no new taxes on the residents of Chicago.
Now, after some of Governor J.B. Pritzker's aides met with Bears executives, the governor's team calls it a non-starter a few days ago.
I remain skeptical.
The new stadium is projected to cost $3.2 billion. Over $2 billion of that is coming from the Bears, the other millions from an NFL loan request and from state bonds. The surrounding infrastructure is expected to cost $1.5 billion for a grand total of $4.7 billion. Originally, the Bears planned to ask the state for $900 million in ISFA bonds, bond proceeds from the state meant to help pay for the project. which should eventually be paid off in part by the state's 2% hotel tax on gross hotel receipts.
Higher
In
taxes.
a statement, the governor's press secretary told us in part, quote, "The current proposal is a non-starter for the state. In order to subsidize a brand new stadium for a privately owned sports team, the governor would need to see a demonstrable and tangible benefit to the taxpayers of Illinois."
Is this, in general, a good investment of public resources?
We asked Dr. Justin Marlowe, the director of the Center of Municipal Finance at the University of Chicago, about that 2% hotel tax.
The financing up front is very valuable to the team because it can be difficult to come up with $900 million on their own. And then the public contribution is sort of spaced out over time.
The payback, he says, could take decades.
To borrow that much money, given the revenues that they know they can collect from the hotel tax, you have to really stretch that borrowing out for about 40 years.
The governor's office also told us that they appreciate the opportunity to talk the plan over with the Bears, adding that they'd be open to meeting with them again, but still lots of questions on how the Bears plan to pay for all of this.
Well, we thought that the Bears was going to have a new stadium. Obviously, that may not necessarily be true because Governor Pritzker said, listen, this is a non-starter. Now, I can understand it from both perspectives because on one end, they saying it's a lot of people that are saying, well, we don't want any new taxes and we shouldn't be using taxpayer money in order to fund a privately owned team, right? But then on the flip side, you're talking about economic impact and what would that mean for the city and all of this stuff. So it looks like they made an announcement a little too early because I'm not sure that Governor Pritzker or the legislative branches over in Chicago and Illinois is actually going to go for this. But I'll keep an eye on it. I'll make sure that I still keep you guys up to date on what's going on. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your quick hits. All right. All right, let's get to it. So let me read a few of these super chats, and then we're going to go ahead and get started with the show. Jay Johnson, shout out to my guy, Jay Johnson. Jay Johnson says, what up, coach? Great stock club this morning. Shout out to everybody that was a part of stock club. It feels like your brain gets a new notch in it every time we hear stock club game. I appreciate you. Shout out to the Patreon. Gang, 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 gang. Shout out to my dog, Jay Johnson. I appreciate y'all. Y'all go ahead and watch that. Bam Flacco says, what up, big dog? What up, bam, 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 bam? Slan says, cars out there in the street says, good morning, Anton, and to the Chasers. Shout out to my dog, Slan. I appreciate you. And then last but not least, Ramon Sims says, what should you do with my Tesla severance package at $9,000? Well, before I tell you what you should do, I need to get more context as to what your life is like. There is no one-size-fits-all solution to what you should do depending on what your circumstances are. I don't know if you got kids. I don't know if you're single. I don't know what your living expenses are. I don't know if you can go back with your parents. I don't know if you got job prospects. I don't know what your debt is like. I don't know what that is. But usually if you can get another job and not have to necessarily use that, then I would throw 100% of it towards the debt. And then whatever else you got left, make sure that you open up a brokerage account, and then we can start figuring out what you can do with your investments. But first thing you got to do is get another job. I mean, you got to be moving with the speed of an Olympic sprinter. And we definitely going to address that. But shout out to you and shout out to Tesla for at least giving you a severance package. But we got to know more context behind what it is that you got going on. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. If you have not already, make sure you join the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. All right. Y'all ready to get started with the show? I was going to start with one thing, but I think I'm going to start with another thing. All right, so let's start here because we've been watching this story for a long time, and I want to make sure that I bring y'all up to speed on the latest in this investigation over in Chicago. The suspect that is accused of killing a police officer, Luis, is finally arrested. Finally arrested, all right? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. The boy never had a chance. I wonder if they had this level of urgency with everything else, would they really start to get the criminals off the streets, or if they had the community support. But this boy never had a chance. He was going to get arrested from day one.
The suspect in the murder of CPD officer Luis Huesca has been arrested in Glendale Heights. Here's video of the scene just a short time ago.
And WGN's Dana Repic is live at police headquarters with more on the arrest. Dana?
Well, we are told that Chicago police officers, as well as members of the U.S. Marshals Great Lakes Regional Fugitive Task Force, took Xavier Tate into custody in suburban Glendale Heights. Here are some photos from that scene shared with us from the capture. It happened at an apartment complex there. You can see Xavier Tate on the ground, then being walked out of that complex in handcuffs, wearing a black T-shirt and shorts, and then him seated in the back of a squad car. Our police sources telling us they actually used Officer Luis Huesca's handcuffs when they apprehended him. Alderman Brian Hopkins telling me over the phone tonight that they did have Tate under surveillance for a period of time and tell us he had recently been in the state of Iowa but did return to Illinois. Now, this all comes 10 days after the murder of Officer Huesca. He was shot in the early morning hours of April 21st near his Gage Park home at 56th and South Kedzie after he had just returned from his shift. His vehicle was stolen and later recovered. The very next day, Chicago police released images and video of who they called a person of interest, later identifying Xavier Tate as their primary suspect. Officer Huesca, a 6-year veteran of the police force, was just laid to rest on Monday. In a statement tonight, the Chicago Police Department updated the public on the arrest, and at the bottom saying the investigation continues. No further information is available at this time. We ask that people of this city continue to support the Huesca family by keeping them in your prayers as they continue to mourn the loss of a beloved son, brother, and uncle. Now, we have not heard from Police Superintendent Larry Snelling if he plans to address the media and the public about this major development that could come sometime tomorrow morning. Live at police headquarters, Dana Rebick, WGN News.
Dana.
I remember it was a time where, and I'm not advocating for this, but I'm just telling you what my anecdotal experience or what my memory jog tells me. I remember there was a time where there's no way in the world that this person would have been able to survive and walk around on the streets and then wind up getting handcuffed alive. No way in the world that they would have been able to find this man alive being a cop killer. I'm surprised that they took this man alive. You know how accidents be happening? That's pretty amazing. But let's get it from another angle.
Cheryl, we are told by multiple police sources and someone close to Officer Luis Huesca's family, this arrest comes as an enormous relief. Investigators have been at this complex for hours, and just before sunset earlier tonight, agents with multiple agencies surrounded and walked out Xavier Tate Jr. We are also told by multiple sources that the handcuffs used to arrest him were the handcuffs that belonged to Officer Huesca. Chicago police and U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force moved in on this Glendale Heights apartment complex Wednesday evening, ready to arrest the man who they say killed Officer Luis Huesca. This is the moment captured by a neighbor's cell phone camera. Chicago police and U.S. Marshals walked Xavier Tate Jr. down a flight of stairs surrounded by law enforcement. According to Chicago Alderman
Looked like they gave him a couple punches to the gut while they was in there. Probably say, hey man, put them cameras up, turn your surveillance off. He probably beat the snot out of that boy. Hey, don't do nothing to his face physically because we don't want nothing to go, all of that. But I'm pretty sure that they was very, very aggressive. Very, very aggressive. He limping down them stairs. Justifiably so. He took somebody else's life. He needs to be limping at the very least. I'm surprised again that they took him alive. But here's my question also. Whose apartment is it? And what happens to them? Is the people that's harboring this fugitive, do they get a pass or do they also get charges too? Just curious.
Hopkins and multiple police sources.
Look at him crying.
Handcuffs restraining Xavier Tate Jr.'s wrists behind his back with the department issued handcuffs belonging to the officer they say Tate Jr. murdered. People who live in this complex watched investigators swarm in from the safety of their home, and others were warned to stay away.
I was actually warned by my sister. She also lives across the street from all of this. She told me don't come home at all. Stay wherever you are, don't come home. There's helicopters, police everywhere. makes me kind of think twice about where I'm living.
This multi-agency arrest marks the end of a 10-day manhunt for Luis Huesca's accused murderer. Just a day after Officer Huesca's murder, Chicago police began circulating this surveillance
he'll be living
video of a
the rest of his
suspect
life in
inside
prison.
multiple
That's for
convenience
sure.
stores and walking down Gage Park sidewalks.
Thank you, Matt. I'm gonna
in
read
the
that super
hours
chat
before
shortly.
and just after Huesca was gunned down. Then Friday, a Cook County judge signed an arrest warrant charging Xavier Tate Jr. with Officer Huesca's murder, and police released these photos of Tate Jr. and said he was the suspect in that widely circulated surveillance video. On this same day, a judge signed Xavier Tate Jr.'s arrest warrant. Investigators arrested his relative, Cassius Tate, at a home in Chicago's Morgan Park neighborhood. Prosecutors say police showed up looking for Xavier Tate Jr., and as they searched the home, police say Cassius Tate tossed a gun over the fence. That gun, they say, belonged to Officer Luis Huesca. Now, days after police and Officer Huesca's family buried the young officer, his long-sought accused killer is in police custody. Investigators are still out here on the scene of this apartment complex, and they have it locked down, carrying out this investigation. People who live here are now left standing outside trying to sort through all of this. We did speak to one person who is a neighbor of Xavier Tate Jr., who said he recognized him and knew that he lived here. Now, all of this will be part of an ongoing investigation. We did speak with one source close to Officer Luis Huesca's family who said, quote, tonight, their prayers have been answered.
Watch. Breaking news right now at 10. The lead suspect in the killing of a Chicago police officer arrested after 10 days on the run. This photo shows Xavier Tate Jr.'s arrest, charged with Officer Luis Huesca's murder.
What we've learned tonight about Tate's capture, the investigation that brought us to this moment, and more on the life of Officer Luis Huesca.
That breaking news topping the 10 tonight. CBS 2 obtained this video of Xavier Tate Jr. getting arrested tonight.
Like
the lead suspect in the murder of Chicago police officer Luis Huesca.
He has been on the run for 10 days, accused of gunning down Officer Luis Huesca outside his Gage Park home last month.
Now, this is a live look from Chopper 2.
Look at his feet. He's also in shackles. Now, we note that he was handcuffed, and sources tell us that CPD used the slain officer's cuffs to make this arrest. A clear statement for the CPD members who've been searching for Tate. Now, after 10 days on the run, Tate is officially off the streets, captured, and no longer a threat to the community, which is evident tonight, stretched beyond Chicago into this western suburb. Sources tell me Tate's relative, it's believed his brother, lives in this apartment complex. It's not clear how and when police realized Tate was hiding out here, but we know late tonight, Chicago police and U.S. Marshals moved in, arresting him.
It's right across the street from you, so it's really scary.
Just Monday, Chicago paused to honor and remember Officer Huesca. The 30-year-old was given a full honor guard service before being laid to rest at his final resting place.
Well, good. Finally, we got some good news out of Chicago. I mean, not good considering the circumstances, but good when it comes to the fact that at least they found and apprehended and arrested the suspect. Because I don't believe in people that take other people's lives. I don't believe in people that do things that's bad for the community. And it's still unfortunate. It's absolutely unfortunate. I would think that we also get some words of encouragement and some thoughts from the mayor and the governor, considering that too many police officers are dying in Chicago. And, you know, we got this guy and he's out here hiding out. He been on a run for 10 days, God knows doing what, severing his last moments of freedom. And he got out of the whole thing alive. That's probably the weirdest part of it, the whole thing, is that he actually got out of it alive. So surprising. Y'all said that the police officers are too rough. I'm saying that I think the police officers are too lenient. Anyway, so that's what's going on over in Chicago. Again, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and then turn on your notifications. We finally got one of the criminals off the streets, and I'm wondering how much criminal activity he was a part of prior to killing a police officer, and whether or not they would have went all out for somebody that wasn't a police officer. Anyways, moving on. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to continue on with the show. Matt Washington says, 37, no investments. 37, no investments. no savings, new job will be making around $60,000. Oh, okay, so you got the new job. So you got a new position and bonuses. Should I send an email for a one-on-one on organizing finances for my future? You can. That's up to you. You don't have to. So my email is antondaniels413@gmail.com. However, here's the key. If you got debt, then pay off 100% of the debt. I always say that debt is the enemy of wealth, and it's very difficult for you to really get any momentum behind who you are if you're sitting on debt. All right, you're saying no investments, you need to first tap into the Patreon. The link is in the description. You don't have any savings. I would suggest, if you don't have any debt, for you to open up a private brokerage account with somebody like Fidelity, a reputable service, and then be joining a stock club so that you can get insight on where it is that you need to be deploying your capital. So shout out to you. Shout out for finding a new position that fast. A lot of people were sitting here whining about it. We're going to get into that later because we got some videos coming up with regard to that. Pookie's friend Ray Ray says it probably was some Broad Harbor in the boy. I agree, 100%. Tia Marie in the building says, hey, Anton, banana cream Gucci hoodie. Anton said what was needed to be said last night. Appreciate you and what Rita represents. Shout out to my girl Tia Marie holding me down. Man, I wasn't even going to live stream last night. I wasn't, straight up. I genuinely was not looking to live stream last night. I was going to take the night off. I was deep in my thoughts. Lots going on. But I decided to go ahead and gird up and give y'all what y'all needed. And apparently it was what somebody needed in order to continue to get them over the finish line. Shout out to my girl Tia Marie. I appreciate you, my love. Mrs. K says he got an easy arrest. Markeith Lloyd didn't. And I'm not sure that this boy deserved an easy arrest. My dog, Fi Brown, says, agree with you, AD Young Bull was lucky to even been able to walk after being captured. He's lucky not to have been done like the cop killer Esteban Carpio after they caught him. Look him up. I'm afraid to look him up on the live stream. I don't want to get my thing turned yellow. You know what I'm saying, Fi Brown? But yeah, I'm going to check it out and see what's happening out here in these streets. All right, let's continue on with the show. Let's go here. Police is not playing no games. I'm very impressed with what's going on over there in Colombia. Very, very impressed. Because usually what we see in this society today is people are so busy pacifying people that they are not able to hold them accountable for the things that they're doing. But it seems like they're not giving in. They're not negotiating with terrorists. And they said either you're going to get up off the property protesting for something that you don't even represent, or we're going to arrest y'all. So make sure y'all take a look. Hit the like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get to it, y'all.
Join us here in New York is Carrie Kupek-Urban, Fox News legal editor, used to be at the Department of Justice. Carrie, just talking a little bit about the money. You know, people over the last week or two have been saying, where's the money come from? This would seem like something that the Department of Justice or the FBI, and KJP kind of alluded to this yesterday, it seems like something they should be looking into, because it's not just, you know, it's not a peaceful protest. There is an apparent conspiracy across the country at these campuses to spread this anti-Semitism, which is illegal.
Oh, for sure. And the Department of Justice and the FBI can look into it. I know that they can, because when I was at DOJ, during the summer of 2020, post George Floyd, that's exactly what we did. We were looking to see where that money was coming from. Was it traceable to, say, Antifa? And that's, you know, one of the ways you hunt this down. You look to see where are they getting these gas masks? It's not like they're picking them up from 7-Eleven, you know. It's someone
who's buying the tents.
Who's buying the tents, and it's certainly something that the department and the FBI can do, and I hope they are doing right now.
When you look at what these people,
I mean, that's a fair assessment, because where's all of this money coming from? They buying all of this equipment, masks. They ain't got no jobs apparently that they got to get over to. They've been spending all of this money on supplies and tents, and I'm trying to figure out where's all of the money coming from. That just tells you that it's more than just what you see on the surface.
We're going to be charged with. If you go by New York, not much. They said of the Columbia, about 170 of those 300 people are getting summonses, that 100 are either desk appearance tickets or the cases they're going to run through the system. Out of the 280 arrested, nobody is going to jail.
Jesus
what
Christ.
is going to be
What's
the
the point?
They're as light on crime as New York. So were they going to go on the bus? They're going to get fingerprinted. They're going to be let out. Are they going to get a parking ticket?
They shouldn't be. I mean, there are a number of laws that just looking at this tape right now, I can see that.
Look at all of that graffiti. Ain't nothing peaceful about this. They spray painting, they tagging. It seems like these are paid people that come in and do this and cause all of this disruption in a lot of ways. That guy looked like he Asian. You undermine the power of the police department when you can't properly prosecute or there's no real consequences. If it's only going to be a death ticket and they even had to spend all of this police resources in order to arrest you in the first place, it's difficult to stop these people from doing whatever it is that they're doing. The police can do their job, but if the laws are soft and you so soft on crime, what difference do it make?
Are being potentially broken. Trespassing, vandalism, resisting arrest. There are a number of things. Destruction of property. And these are the things that we saw during the summer of 2020. And I have to tell you, it's bringing back a lot of memories, especially because during that summer, it wasn't the protesters who got hurt. It were the police.
That's right.
There were many police who were injured and seriously injured as these protesters would throw things at them. They'd throw urine, they'd throw feces, they would throw rubber bullets, mace. It was terrible.
So Carrie, I got to ask you this because New York Counterterrorism yesterday released some information, and one of them is Sami al-Aran, who pled guilty to conspiracy to provide services to the Palestinian Islamic Jihad back in 2006. Well, his wife was seen at one of the protests in Colombia, and they said that she's one of the people that's leading these protests. She doesn't live, she's not a student at Columbia, but she's organizing and getting these young people almost radicalization happen in real time. So what can the Department of Justice do to stop these outside actors from radicalizing our young people?
Well, the discovery of that woman, I think, makes it easier for DOJ and the FBI because, there's always this fine line, free speech and not profiling people based on their beliefs versus violence or threats of violence and terrorism. So the fact that that woman was discovered on campus and has ties to terrorism makes it a lot easier for them to look into the funding, work with the State Department, and work with our law enforcement partners abroad.
Then college campuses in crisis across the country tonight as protesters and police face off amid escalating tensions.
The battle between free speech and safety concerns on campus has reached a fever pitch. At Columbia University in New York, police officers in riot gear entered a campus building, arresting dozens of protesters. Back here at UCLA and USC, clashes have broken out between pro-Palestinian and pro-Israeli demonstrators, prompting increased security and threats of disciplinary action.
We have team coverage of the student protests and the response by schools and the police. John Finolio is live at UCLA. But we begin with Sandra Mitchell in the KTLA News Center with the latest on the unrest at Columbia University. Sandra.
Shara, it certainly appears that order is being restored at Columbia University tonight, but it really was a tense few hours. NYPD says they used flashbang devices to distract the protesters, but no tear gas. Hamilton Hall has been emptied. The encampments that were on that campus also have been cleared of people. Taken away in zip-tie handcuffs, hundreds of NYPD officers stormed the campus of Columbia University tonight to take control of a building occupied by a group supporting Palestine and protesting the war in Gaza.
Hamilton Hall is now secure. There's no one else left in the building.
Late last night, demonstrators broke windows and chained doors at Hamilton Hall. Tonight, specialized police units crawled through a second-floor window of the building, arresting dozens of protesters and taking them away on NYPD buses.
So you can break windows, vandalize, destroy the university. We don't even know if you really go there or not. Keep a mask on your face, chain the doors, force the police to get in there another way, and then you're going to get a slap on the wrist, right? Because that's basically what y'all telling me. Y'all basically telling me that there are no consequences for rioting. Now, if I go over and I knock too hard on somebody else's door, then I'm going to be held liable for trespassing. You know what I'm saying? If it's somebody that don't want to see me there. But you can riot, tear up your city, destroy your environment, bust out windows with a hammer, force the university or taxpayers to be able to pay for it, also force the university and taxpayers to pay for police presence there in the first place to be able to arrest you. And we just supposed to sit idly by, and that's the end of the conversation.
Many students frustrated by the distractions and the demands of the demonstrators.
And we're going to make classes go virtual because we're going to accommodate these protesters. And that's basically the message the university has been sending, and it's completely unacceptable.
Free Palestine!
After reports that the protesters were vandalizing the building, NYPD said they responded to the scene at the request of the university. A university spokesman said the protests had escalated to an alarming and untenable situation, and that officials believe the takeover was led by individuals who are not affiliated with the university.
I agree. Most of the time, it's usually people that's not affiliated with the university that's over there tearing up the most, because they don't really care what happens. It reminds me of what was happening during the pandemic when all of y'all was out there protesting. And then y'all was burning up Wendy's and AutoZone and all of your local stores and stealing and rioting and stuff like that. And then a lot of those stores never came back. And then they say, well, it wasn't really us, it was paid people. Interesting. Apparently, these two young guys decided to put their lives on the line in order to demonstrate against the very ones that's protesting and getting arrested. Take a look.
All right, the generation that came of age during the extended blue state lockdowns, including in New York and the George Floyd riots, is showing us what they've learned. The adults who celebrated the passion of those who spat at the police, tore apart our cities, and ripped down our historical monuments created what we're watching tonight on college campuses.
This is crazy.
Guys, my team. Come on, link arms.
Look at this nonsense.
Remember on the January 6th, they smashed the window, right? That was a war crime, but they do it here, and it's like, well, do you want another pizza? All right, despite this travesty that we're seeing on campus, there is some hope. Two brave students at Columbia faced off against the angry mob as they tried to break into Hamilton Hall.
Running circle blockade around these three. We're going to move them out. Let's go. Another human chain. The people united will never be. Get someone wrap around. Get inside the
Is someone recording this? Are you recording this?
I got it.
100% assault.
If somebody touch me, they getting hands. Don't touch me, bro.
Joining me now, Rory Wilson and Charles Beck, the two students you just saw. You guys, first of all, major kudos to you. I don't know whether just to congratulate you or declare you insane for trying to face off against that mob. But Rory, let's start with you. What made you decide to take that stand?
Well, it was pretty much on the spur of the moment. My friends got me out of bed, told me something was happening on campus. I ran over and I saw that it was pretty much chaos. People were smashing in the windows. Massive mob gathered outside of Hamilton Hall, piling up chairs on the inside and that sort of thing. So I wanted, just kind of off the cuff of it, wanted to show that I disapproved of what was going on, that this was completely inappropriate, destroying the property of our university, and that this is not at all the way that we ought to conduct ourselves in any sort of discourse. And so I just wanted to register my protest against their protest. That's what I was telling them when they were yelling at me, and say, I'll protest your protest. I'm free to do that.
Well, Charles, you actually got dragged away, I understand, at one point. Here's what happened. Watch.
You guys are the ones dragging people away.
All right, look, this is assault.
You're shoving me. All right.
So you know, you don't want to
shoving you.
ruin your whole life. Oh, sorry, you'll ruin your whole life.
I'm trying to get him and my other friend out.
Okay, thank you.
I'm trying to get them out.
Thank you.
Don't mess with me. Why are you trying to get us out? Okay.
Charles, one of your friends said something to you to convince you to move away at that point. What was said?
Yeah, that's a good friend of mine who I've known for quite a couple years. Essentially, he was really just quite scared for my health and safety. He had sort of had a top field vision of it, and he was afraid that if I'd remained there, that the crowd would have caused me serious bodily injury, even death. And essentially, what he whispered to me was, well, something along the lines of, "Don't be stupid, don't get martyred for a building." Sort of the idea that perhaps, well, perhaps it wasn't worth getting that injured, but I can certainly see where he was coming from. Perhaps part of the sort of move here was I wasn't really thinking, to be entirely honest with you, about my own health and safety. I was more so just thinking of, I don't know, thinking that someone needed to say something. Ideally, someone at our university could sort of say that, well, they didn't agree with what was happening, and they understood it as something fundamentally wrong.
Well, they don't want to debate, Rory.
Yeah, I'm gonna need these students, first of all, to be able to communicate a little bit more effectively. Shout out to these young men for standing up for what they believe in. But I said this. I said it, and I'm gonna say it every single day that we review this, that this was going to spiral out of control. Two things. Number one, it's spiraling out of control. And if you don't nip it in the bud in the very beginning, it turns into something that ultimately becomes something that you can't control. Number two, I said that it was a distraction. Notice how no news reports are starting to come out anymore about the migrant crisis or people crossing the border. They only touch on it every so often. Now the big story is this. Now the big story is abortion. Now the big story is Kamala Harris becoming Mamala for the country. We always get thrown off and distracted by things that don't even matter. And then all of this junk goes away eventually after the election season. Every single time. Every single time we get distracted, and then it goes away after election season. But I'm going to just keep hitting on this because I don't want y'all to be distracted from the things that really matter, the stuff that you can really control. They over there tearing up the university. They getting arrested. They getting interrupted over there. And so y'all let them go ahead and be hippies and ruin their life and get arrest records and nothing happen to them and mess up their job prospects. But don't be distracted. Don't be dismayed. It's all something to keep you away from the thing that actually matters, which is best for you and who it is that you feel like should be president of the United States. And also make sure y'all vote locally and become focused on making sure that y'all be informed on what's going on with y'all policies on that front also. Let me move over really quickly, and so I want to deep dive. So this is interesting. This is very, very interesting. So has anybody ever been to Baton Rouge? Has anybody been to Baton Rouge, Louisiana? I know a lot of y'all like to go over to Bourbon Street. Some people talk a little bit about Shreveport, Louisiana, because 50 Cent is investing in there. Have anybody actually been over to Baton Rouge? Well, over in Baton Rouge, apparently, white people decided to divest themselves from the community. Let me get a round of applause for these white people over in Baton Rouge. Y'all sent this to me last night. I read it this morning, and I said, no, they didn't. Now y'all have no reason to complain about what you control within your own city. And the mayor over there, I heard she was having a fit. You live in Baton Rouge, Lee Turner? I'm wondering what y'all feel about this. Me, I'm from Louisiana. It's the capital. Baton Rouge is where the good old white people is at. No, not these white people. These white people said, we don't want to be a part of what's going on over here. And so we're going to divest ourselves. We're going to create our own city. And so I have not reviewed this yet, but I did see the title, and I did pull up a couple of videos that I was able to source so we can have this conversation. But I was incredibly amazed that they was able to do this and divest themselves from the community. Jay Anderson says, you knew I was going to bring this up. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. I haven't even reviewed it yet. I don't even know what's going on. Anyways, our good old white people, wealthy white people is what they saying, decided that they wanted to create their own city and break away from Baton Rouge. Let's see.
Louisiana's highest court sent its ruling down, paving the way for St. George to officially become its own city.
That's right. Deshaun Johnson is live in downtown Baton Rouge with reaction on this decision. Good evening, Deshaun.
Yeah, Renee and Jacob, this has been a decision going on for years. And earlier today, the ruling for St. George to officially be incorporated as its own city was approved after a 4-3 vote from the Louisiana Supreme Court. The justices found that legal error led to lower courts denying the incorporation, and the lower court's judgment was reversed. The city's incorporators and electors won the judgment requested. St. George incorporators were taken to court following a 2019 election that was approved, allowing the city to be created. Prior court rulings sided with Baton Rouge, denying the creation of the new city before the decision by the state Supreme Court. Here's the reaction on the ruling.
I am committed to serving the residents of St. George, just as I serve those of Baker, Central, and Zachary. And in the days ahead, I will proceed to have conversations to determine the best course of action in compliance with the court's final decision.
We are open for everyone. If you want more opportunity, you want a better life, you want a chance for lower crime, St. George, I don't care what you look like. No one does. No one ever did.
Let me tell you something. When I looked at every single headline, when it came to St. George and Baton Rouge, it was all white people against black people. And so here's my question. First, before we deep dive into this, who said this? Who started writing the headlines? Why did it then become white people against black people when it's really more about people that stand for something, don't want crime, don't want to move a certain way, don't want to be operating in this liberal society? We shouldn't be paying for all of the resources that we not even using. And then they go over to the Victim Olympics over there, and then people continue to do the worst things for the community. What he just said was, listen, we don't really care what you look like. It's not about identity politics. This ain't diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is about people that stand for a certain standard of living and don't want to immerse themselves in this trash culture. Come on over to St. George. Come on over to Death Row. He said, listen, you don't want your CEO dancing all in your videos, being at the forefront, all at the award shows. Come on over to St. George. You know what I'm saying? You're not playing no games. He said, listen, you don't want nobody all in your videos, causing problems, creating issues. It don't matter what you look like. Come on over here. I don't really understand what the problem is. They did it legally. They fought the good fight. They separated themselves. And they said, we're not going to continue to deal with this nonsense.
That's a narrative that was created as a smokescreen to rally people into a cause. It's never been true.
St. George would join Baker, Central, and Zachary in forming its cities within East Baton Rouge. And Merle did say this will be a long process and it won't happen overnight. Reporting live in downtown Baton Rouge, Deshaun Johnson, NBC Local 33 News.
Ain't that what y'all wanted, though? I thought that's what y'all wanted. Every single time you'll say, yeah, man. None of y'all actually read the real Martin Luther King speech. Nobody read the real Martin Luther King speech. But you know what? You know what they always say? Man, Martin Luther King even admitted that he said that he led us into a burning building. We should have segregated ourselves. That's what y'all tell me. Y'all say, yep, we want to segregate ourselves. You said, we better off. We's better off, boss, with our own city. I seen how that played out. It didn't work. You know where I seen it play out first? And what was once considered at one point the blackest city in the United States of America, Detroit, Michigan, back in the 90s, the 80s, and the 2000s, for the 99 and the 2000s. You said you're working with Detroit here. Oh, yeah. Yep. We had black mayors, black city council people, white people was like, you know what? We're going to go ahead and move on out since y'all don't want us here. Y'all want to come in and do your own thing and make sure okay, you got it. You got good jobs. You got a great school system. You have a growing economy and a growing community. Y'all want to tear up every single time something happened. Y'all rioted in 67. We're going to go ahead and get up out of here. We're not going to rebuild. We're going to go ahead and dip. Dip, baby, dip. Come on now, dip, baby, dip. They said, we getting on up out of there. Next thing you know, took a few decades, a lot of crime, a lot of pilfering of funds, a lot of stealing from the school systems, superintendents, principals, population. Every person that you can think of was from the community. Every person that you can think of was from the community. 2008 came. That was the end of the conversation. That was the end of the conversation. So if people decide that they want to abide by the law and separate themselves and say, listen, we don't want to be a part of it, and we're not even making it a race issue. It's a cultural issue. If you want to move over here and do things the right way, then we're going to play it a little bit differently. We're going to play it a little bit differently. Okay, so this is what, I don't know if this is Fox Soul Brother or whatever. His name is Isaiah. I've never actually heard it before, but I've seen a little bit of this, and now I know he's going to have a conversation. And I'm wondering, do he look at this as a race thing because he's a part of Fox 26? Let's see what he got to say.
And thank you for joining us for our second half hour, The Factor Uncensored. The headlines from the national media are eye-grabbing at best. Wealthy white Louisiana residents split from Baton Rouge to form their own city. But is race a real issue at the core of this municipal secession? The 86,000 residents who are forming their own city in St. George, Louisiana, say it's about better schools for their children and better city services.
Facts.
Baton Rouge is more than 50% black, and those who are against a split say the city will be hurt by this action to create a new city, which was approved by the Louisiana State Supreme Court last Friday after a 5-year-long battle. And joining us on The Factor Uncensored tonight, we have with us Eugene Collins, who's the former president of the NAACP in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Eugene, you guys have quite a situation.
First thing that I would do if I created my own city was abolish anything that had anything to do with diversity, equity, and inclusion. NAACP, affirmative action, Jesse Jackson, Umar Johnson, Jay Morrison, all of these people, Amanda Seals. We banning protesting, we banning everything. Everything is banned that have anything to do with DEI, Black Lives Matters, all of that. We are a melting pot. We rock with everybody over here based off of character, not based off of color. Anytime I hear the organization, the NAACP, you know what I hear? KKK. That's all I hear. It's the opposite of it's the same thing as the KKK, except they got blackface on it. And then they hijacked the NAACP. And they said, well, it's just a people of color. It ain't even black people no more. That's all I hear, honestly, is this reverse racism. It's an excuse to leverage how you feel about a particular people and say what you really want to say without any repercussions by tying yourself to an organization.
There with St. George, the community now breaking off, becoming its own city after the Louisiana Supreme Court approved it. So what do you think this will do to the city of Baton Rouge?
It's confusing, right? When you look at it just on the surface, there's so many unknowns to the city of Baton Rouge. So already what it has done is severely confuse the residents. And the biggest concern that I've seen so far is about where do people send their kids to school, right? Because you have a ton of folks that live in that area that if a new school district is established over the next 2 years, I mean, you got some legacy things that folks that might have went to some of the
we don't care
schools that now maybe have to go to school in St. George, and those families are up in the air. So what has already caused
the move to Baton Rouge,
severe confusion. And I think some of the dangers of it futuristically is you continue to further divide an already highly racially charged area. And that just can't be good for the city of Baton Rouge.
Wait. I thought y'all wanted to segregate. I thought y'all wanted to separate. Honestly, I thought that y'all said y'all want to be able to do what y'all want to do when y'all want to do it. So they say, listen, we tired of the crime. We tired of anchoring the community. We tired of paying the majority of the property taxes. We We tired of subjecting ourselves to it. We gonna legally go through the process to separate ourselves, make ourselves our own city. And now y'all talking about legacy? Oh man, it was people that may have went to a school over there, and now they looking at it a little bit differently. Man, it's a racially charged area. But no. Which one you want? You want to separate yourself, or you want to be a part of the community? Or you want the people that's actually doing the best for the community to pay for you to continue to be racially motivated?
Overall and over time. But at the same time, I want to acknowledge that these folks are organized. They went out and got the votes.
Yeah.
They raised money to continue their legal battles. And they went through a democratic process to get this city established, for which, I understand democracy and I understand that's the
I'm
way
going to read the super
government,
chat shortly.
it's supposed to work.
Or
But at
the
same
cash
time,
apps,
it's a
I'm sorry.
dangerous notion, I believe, for the city of Baton Rouge to split at any level with the current environment that we have.
And of course, for those who are wondering, how did we get here? You look at the New York Post, you look at the Daily Mail, and the headlines show mainly white, wealthy community pulls out of Baton Rouge, starting their own
Sure,
city.
black people wrote
Would that
that.
be accurate? And what is the reasoning behind pulling out of Baton Rouge from your perspective and what you know?
Well, when you look at the basis of what they have publicly said about their argument to separate from the city of Baton Rouge, it's been based around better schools, right? Which in itself on its face doesn't make a ton of sense, right? Because you have some people that have supported this movement that have held seats on our school board, right? And it's supposed to be their job to improve schools. So that notion
No, we
itself
don't.
is
Listen.
contradictory to
They don't want your bad kids hanging out with their kids, and they want to separate themselves and say, listen, we prefer to be able to do a different type of job and managing ourselves, and we'll deal with the consequences that come along with that. That's really what it comes back down to. No, don't keep telling me, no. Don't separate yourself. Translation. Don't take your resources away from our resources, and we should continue to be able to draw off of your resources in order to make sure that we can continue to run in the Victim Olympics and still blame it on you for what happens in your community.
To what we see on his face. Not to mention, when you look at the makeup of the organizers and you don't have any people of color amongst them, it's hard not to make the assumption that this is something that might be racially driven. But at the same time, I have to be honest and say that the rhetoric, the narrative that they have pushed has been about better schools. But I don't see how separating the school district can create better schools.
But right now, the Supreme Court has only approved the city, creating a city. You're not at a school district yet. And much of this still may be
Oh, we getting there. They gonna get there.
The process.
I have to go visit St. George.
Maybe down the road, but there are already House bills that's been
Jamal, don't do that, Jamal. Oh my God. What's your Cash App? Jamal. We'll get there in a minute. We'll get there.
About the things that are necessary and needed to ensure that this city gets its own school district. Not to mention that the various things that have been done to improve the district in that region already. This city is paid for, right? Not to mention when you look at how they're plan on supporting themselves, it's pulling a lot of the resources and the tax bases from Baton Rouge, stuff that has been
they're gonna separate themselves
to keep our
you do your own
stable,
thing,
right?
No, ain't no hour.
So I think
ain't no hour.
Sharon Weston Broome, the mayor there, said the city of Baton Rouge could lose at least $46 million.
See, it's all about the money. You want their money.
At least, and probably more, right? So when you take all that into account, this is going to hurt the underserved. This is going to be paid for on the backs of poor Black folks.
And this is what it comes back down to. They're going to sell you on the idea that, oh my God, this is going to be paid for by poor Black folks. No. What they really saying is, we're no longer going to give all of our resources over to you, but not get nothing in return. So you can now manage, own, and pay for your own situation. And we going to separate ourselves, and we going to create a new situation that's going to be conducive for what we got going over here. Hey, shout out to St. George. Shout out to St. George. oh man, this is gonna be paid for on the behalf of poor, but no, it's not. No, it's not. That's not what they said. No, it's not. It's not paid for on the behalf of poor black people. That's not what happens. What really happens is it's now be able to separate it and say, hey, you can swim, and if you can't swim, you bound to drizzle. That's really what happens. If you can't swim, you bound to drizzle. You want other people to pay for you to do what you want to do, but don't want to put nothing in the pot. Now you're going to say, oh, no, it's going to be paid for on the backs of this person and that person. No, it's not. No, it's not. You're not going to finesse me. We know what's really going to happen. So listen, you wanted to separate yourself. You wanted to do your own thing. You wanted to continue to make sure that you're running it up. And okay, now that's what's basically happening. So long story short, that's what's going on in the community. So Baton Rouge, St. George, I'm definitely going to be paying attention to what's going on over there in those streets because they running in the Victim Olympics. Anytime I hear anything that's even remotely close to NAACP, I gotta hold them accountable. You know what I'm saying? Let's read some of these super chats really quickly because I want to address this. First and foremost, let me give a shout out to Renee Anthony. Shout out to Renee Anthony. I appreciate you on Cash App. Thank you. You can never be any more appreciated than you are right now. Dietrich 619 says, growing up in Louisiana, I fell into the trap of this race game by those I was surrounded by. I have now removed myself from that ignorance. I strive to get understanding now because of UAD, you a real one. Are we opening up eyes? We opening up eyes over here on the Millionaire Morning Show, baby. It ain't about race. It's about culture and it's about class. Jamal Fowler says, peace, Anton, please accept my last. Do me a favor, Jamal. Put your Cash App inside of the chat. Put your Cash App inside of the chat, Jamal. If this is truly your last, and all I can do is take people's word at it. All I can do is take people at their word. And nobody else, just me, okay? Put your Cash App inside of the chat, Jamal. And I take people at their word. So if this is truly your last, if you gave me 2, I'm going to give you 100, okay? You gave me 2. If this is truly your, and I know you a real one because you've been supporting the platform and supporting the show for a long time. And this is what we do over here. All right? You gave me 2, I'm going to give you 100 back, okay? And it's because we love each other over here. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not telling anybody else to do it. Don't try to piggyback off of Jamal. This was just straight up. This is straight up him being authentic, all right? We love each other over at the Bag Chasers, and we know that people go through things, and that's just life. That's just genuinely life. Jamal, put your Cash App, only Jamal Fowler. Hey, your car, look for Jamal's Cash App. Look for Jamal's Cash App inside of the chat, and then I'm a Cash App him $100 as soon as we see it. Jamal, put your Cash App. Stop letting all of that. We don't care about that pride and stuff over here. Put your Cash App inside of the comments. And let me also say this for my guys. We got to stop being so prideful, bro. You showing love, allow me to show love back, bro. Allow your brothers to hold you up. Allow your people to be able to support you, bro. This ain't got nothing to do with pride. This got something to do with the fact that, yo, I feel in my spirit it's necessary to be able to contribute. And so now I want to bless you back. You bless the platform by supporting the platform every single day, hitting the like for the algorithm, and then you threw your last in there. And now I want to support you back, bro. Is that reasonable? I did. I gave Quentin the Pride Talk a week ago. I 100% have. All right, Jamal, I tell you what. Since you want to act like that, this is what we'll do. All right, there we go. Because I was about to stop the show. I literally was about to stop the show. Let me start. Let me hold on. Jamal Fowler. All right. Give me a second. Give me a second. Let me. All right. So Chris James, he put 50 in the pot. All right. Nobody else. Nobody else. So since Chris James put an additional 50 in the pot, what we gonna do is I'm gonna cash app you 150. All right. I'm gonna cash app you 150 right now. And we're going to go from there. Hold on, I got you. There you go. There is. I got it. Thank you, Yakar. I appreciate you, bro. All right, we got you. All right. Hold on, let me spin that around. You know, we sell receipts over here. So I just want to make sure that you know. All right. So there's the 150 to you, big dog. God bless you. And hey, man, God bless you, bro. Thank you for always loving and supporting on what we got going on over here. And I love you, bro. I genuinely love you, man. So God bless you. Shout out to you, big dog. And Jamal, man, we love you, bro. We genuinely love you. You family to us. I don't care what they got going on in the world. I don't care what they got going on in the streets. Here, you family, bro. So, again, nobody else do it. I don't want nobody else. If y'all want to talk to Jamal separately, then that's on y'all. However, what we got going on over here is that we love people in real life. And we know it's not life-changing. You know what I'm saying? It's not anything like that. But I know who you are in real life, and so we going to make sure that we take care of our own. We don't look for handouts. We don't do none of that. We just take care of our own. We love people in real life, all right? Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. We chasers. And when we say we chasers, we not just, it sound good when we say bag chasers. And so that's the lingo that go with it. But in reality, we truth chasers. We chasers of righteousness. We chasers of love. We make sure that we chase souls and we win them over in order for them to really be able to see what real love look like. And the bad come with it. We chase all of the good things and all of the fruits of the spirit, and the bad come with it. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to you, big dog. We love you. We appreciate you. We're going to make sure that we take care of our own. Shout out to Jamal, man. We love you, big dog. Let me read some more of the super chats, and then we're going to continue over with the show. Again, shout out to Jamal. We love you, big dog. Shout out to my dog, E-Man Strong said, did this NAACP? All right, we back. Had a little bit of buffering, had a little bit of a problem, but we back. Let me continue to read the super chats. Shout out to my dog, Spencer Campbell. Spencer Campbell said, God bless. Thank you, Spence. You always contributing into the platform also. I appreciate you. My dog. Shout out to my dog. My dog, Chris James, is in the building. Chris James. Shout out to Chris James. Yeah. Shout out to my dog, Chris James. Always contributing into the platform. Thanks, Chris, man. So what I did was I took my 100, I took your 50, we gave it to Jamal, and so we're going to make sure that we bless our brother. DJ Ace, what up, DJ Ace? Oh, man, here we go. My guy, DJ Ace, said, I'm paying it forward. Shout out to my dog, paying it forward. Artifacts is in the building, says, I'm my brother's keeper. Shout out to you, big dog. Also, my guy, J Ben, says, bless the like button on the way. Bless Jamal. Shout out to the Molly Mall in the building. Chris Humphrey is in the building, says, I got 5 on it. And my guy, the Wealth Building Journey, says, we paying it forward. All right, I guess I got to bless Jamal with another bag, huh? We going to get there. We going to get there. And then A-Man01 says, love you, AD, no Diddy. We don't have to say no Diddy. We grown men over here, all right? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all ready to continue over with the show? Jamal, take your blessings. The same way that they got on me. Let me acknowledge the PayPal payments too. I do, Marianne. Angel, I do acknowledge the PayPals too. I do. I know I can be what I want to be. Let me acknowledge my people. Mariah is Mariah. That's how you say it. Mariah. Thank you to my baby Mariah. She said she officially became a bag chaser yesterday for a whole year. Y'all know y'all get like 15 to 20% off once y'all become bag chasers. I'm going to have to create another graphic for my people that's on Cash App and PayPal. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Mariah Angel, my angel. My angel, my angel. What's up, baby? Yeah. All right, y'all. I got my girl Kay Cooper in the building. Kay Cooper said for J Mall in the building. I'm going to have to gather all of these up, and then I'm going to have to send you a bag, big dog. Real talk. Bree Powered is in the building, says someone on some good ground. Shout out to Bree Powered. We love you, Bree. Welcome to all of the chasers. Welcome to everybody that's a part of the Bag Chasers. We love you. We appreciate y'all. Y'all are the greatest audience on earth. And Q and Rita is putting together our first, is this our first official meetup this year? Putting together our first official meetup this year. Shout out to Q and Rita. Shout out to all of the new Bag Chasers. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. All right. I got a reaction video that I'm going to do, but I'm going to do it afterwards. All right. I got a reaction video that I'm going to do, but I'm going to do it afterwards. And the reason that I'm going to do it afterwards is because I like to save the reaction videos for last. So it's a woman that said that she lost her job. Before we get into that, though, I want to get into the banks because I seen something that came up on MSNBC or CNBC, and they were talking about the banks or hundreds of banks are at the risk of failing. Because I am so familiar with how banks operate, this is right up my alley. So let's get to the money. Let's get to the money first, and then we're going to get to the reaction video, all right? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel. If you have not already, make sure you turn on your notifications, and let's get into it.
Hundreds of small and regional banks across the U.S. are feeling stressed. More than 280 banks face the dual threat of commercial real estate loans and potential losses tied to higher interest rates.
There's no doubt in my mind there's going to be more bank failures.
Or at least dip below their minimum capital requirement.
There will be bank failures, but this is not the big banks.
Rapid interest rate hikes can mean borrowers suddenly face more expensive loan payments. And if they can't afford to pay up, they may default on their loans. A record $929 billion.
And let me also say, shout out to everybody. I see y'all in the chat loving on my guy, Jamal. Shout out to everybody that directly sent him something. So I'll put his Cash App. And again, only what you can. Don't jump out the window or anything like that. Only what you can. But make sure that y'all show y'all brother some love also and hold him up and hold him down. So shout out to Jamal. Y'all see it. If y'all want to see what his Cash App is, just rewind the show. But shout out to him, man. Shout out to you for continuing to run it up and take care of business. We love you, bro. We love you in real life. All right, let's continue on with the show.
$1 worth of loans are coming due, aka maturing, in 2024, driven by mass extensions of loans originally due in 2023. Regulators are working behind the scenes with potentially at-risk lenders.
They're issuing sort of confidential, under-the-radar reports saying you got to raise your capital.
We'll see a lot fewer bank failures than we would otherwise if we're successful in attracting private capital to recapitalize these banks.
These are banks that probably need to raise capital, or they could try to get acquired by a stronger bank.
However, banking sector acquisitions have dwindled. These stressed banks could have big implications for the U.S. economy.
In 1 year since the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank,
of course, we're seeing cracks form once again a year later.
Both major and regional bank indexes are still struggling since 2023's bank failures.
I think most of them are just fine, but confidence is everything in banking. People start losing confidence, and even the healthy banks can be adversely impacted.
Here's why hundreds of small banks may be at risk of failure, and how insolvency can be avoided. The U.S. has thousands of banks.
There are about 4,600 banks in the United States, but in most developed economies in the world, there aren't regional and community banks.
Approximately 4,000 banks in the US are small banks, also known as community banks. If you add up the collective assets of those 4,000 banks, small banks control roughly the same value of assets as America's largest bank.
My girl Sis says, AD, is this tied to high credit card debt? No, I don't think so in particular. I think that that's one of the contributing factors. But right now, it looks like the biggest thing that's impacting these is commercial real estate, right? Because you got to remember, listen, it's two hugely distressed aspects of what banking is looking like today. The first one is commercial real estate. If you really want to understand the health of a community, or you want to understand what's going on when it comes to the economy or a possible recession or anything like that, the first thing that you want to look at is real estate, personal real estate and commercial real estate. Now, the personal real estate aspect of it is fine because housing is still going up. Interest rates are still trying to tamp down on inflation. Buyers are still looking for properties. It's artificially kind of being propped up because interest rates are so high, it's keeping prices relatively in check because most people can't afford new mortgages, considering that the rate at which you make money is not keeping up with the rate of inflation. So with higher interest rates, it's still people that's in the market looking for homes, maybe not spend as much money. But the difference is that there's not enough sellers because sellers know that once they sell their home and they get that windfall, they still got to find a place to live. And so most of them don't have enough equity in their home to take the difference of what the purchase price is and then whatever the fees are and whatever it is that they sell off in order to go back to the bank to go out and purchase a new property outright cheaper or living somewhere else, that would allow for them to be able to lower their costs. So why would I sell my home? Let's say I own a home and it's appreciated to $500,000. I paid $300,000 for it, right? That was the original purchase price. After fees and costs, let's just say you exit with about anywhere between $150 and $180. I still got to go out and mortgage another property. Why wouldn't I just keep the property that I have at a low interest rate, probably somewhere around 3 to 4%? Why wouldn't I keep that property that I already have at about 3%, 3.5%, instead of going out and financing a new property and trying to take the equity out? If I want to take the equity out, I could just go and get a HELOC. I could refinance. But then I wouldn't refinance because then I would be refinancing at another rate, right? So homeowners that would normally be selling, and shout out to Mr. Brian Francis, I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. Homeowners that would normally be selling is staying put. They saying, I'm going to just chill because it doesn't make sense financially for me to step outside of that. Now, conversely, commercial real estate is the one that's suffering because what's happening with commercial real estate is they're trying to find new uses for these buildings. Like we did a show last week on St. Louis, right? And it's a lot of commercial real estate where they still have to pay whatever it is that they owe to the bank. But a lot of these commercial real estate properties are defaulting because they have no tenants. When the pandemic hit and everybody went and they work from home, a lot of these companies are starting to abandon some of these same places in these large buildings. And if they can't repurpose it or find new tenants, guess what happens? The same thing that happens when it comes to personal or residential real estate, except it's on a much larger scale. So now you see buildings that was originally being slated to be sold for $100 million, or they built it for all this money. They selling it for pennies on a dollar, and people are taking advantage of it, but at somebody else's expense, usually the bank. And so the bank, what they do is they write that down. They write that down as a loss, but some banks are able to absorb losses differently than others because either they have other parts of their business that's being able to prop it up, or on the other side, they have enough good loans to subsidize for the bad loans that they know that they're going to have to write off, or they've allocated enough money to be able to write off all of the distressed property that they're about to run into. It's the same thing when it comes to repossessions. The reason why it's so difficult and why they look at your credit in order to loan you money in order to get a car, and they raise up rates higher when you're a subprime lender. A subprime lender or subprime lending, shout out to Miami-Dade County of the Courts. I'm going to definitely read that super chat shortly. Subprime lending is basically looking at somebody looking at their credit profile, looking at how much money they make, and they have a greater chance of defaulting on a loan because you know that they got a bad history of paying, and or they don't have a long job history, and or their credit to debt ratio is saying something, whatever, right? So they jack the interest rates up to make more money on the front end because they know it's a stronger possibility for you to not pay your car note. Then they got to come get the car, sell a car at auction, sell it at a loss, and then write that down on their balance sheet. Now take all of that information and then translate it over to commercial real estate. Because there's a lot of commercial properties and a lot of financing that went along with a lot of these large companies, and they can't find tenants or they can't resell a property off. And in most instances, it's in cities or states that are already distressed. The San Franciscos, the St. Louis, the Chicagos, all of these places. And guess what? These banks are the ones that absorb all of the problems and all of the trouble that come along with lending out your money in order to make more money that people are now defaulting off of. So what happens? The bank collapses or they have to merge because they don't have enough on a balance sheet to continue to maintain profitability. And so as a result, the bank becomes insolvent. And so the only other thing that goes along with that is the credit card debt, right? And stuff like that, right? So I'm not going to get into the credit card debt because we're going to get into all of that later, and that's going to be a whole nother show. But my point is these banks are failing because they don't make good decisions when they are doing really, really well. They over leverage themselves. They get too greedy. They start lending out money and they not really paying attention to the long-term repercussions of what could happen. And their calculated risks are not as good as they say that they are. And banks fail all the time. When you see people come into these spaces and they say, how come we don't have any black banks? What do you mean? Banks fail all the time. They fail all the time. It's banks that fail and go insolvent every single year. Every single year. 100%. But right now, you're experiencing a collapse of commercial real estate because it's a lot of, they trying to repurpose the building. They're trying to find new buyers. They're trying to refinance. They're trying to work with the bank. But often at times, these commercial real estate properties in a lot of instances are driving a lot of these banks into insolvency. And so that's basically what you see happening, sis. Hopefully I explained that clearly enough for us to be able to get it because, I'm a C student, so.
JP Morgan Chase with $3.2 trillion of assets.
Now the stress.
Now Chase is the largest bank in the United States of America. Literally too big to fail.
Really
That's why we
to
listen to Jamie Dimon, because Jamie Dimon is the CEO of Chase, and he basically controls, or he has a great relationship in order to impact what's going on in the banking sector and the industry, right?
Bank category, and those are between 1 and 10 billion in assets. The great bulk of the institutions that are going to be, facing this stress.
The Claros Group analyzed 4,000 banks, screening regulatory call report filings for banks with over 300% of capital in commercial real estate loans and potential losses tied to interest rates.
So I'm Brian Graham. I'm a founder and partner in the Claros Group. We thought it was important to focus on how they measured up on those two macroeconomic factors that are at work.
282 U.S. banks are at risk, with nearly $900 billion in total assets. The majority of those banks are smaller lenders with less than $10 billion in assets each. 16 of those banks are larger, with anywhere from $10 to $100 billion in assets.
Now, assets obviously are different, and different banks specialize in different things. If you look at Fidelity and, some privately owned places like Charles Schwab. Charles Schwab is, I believe, privately owned. They specialize in retirement. They specialize in making sure that they manage your retirement. Another bank that does it that I used to work at is Comerica Bank. Comerica Bank specializes in making sure that they manage large assets or your retirement or put you in a good position in order to, you see what I'm saying? So they market themselves differently. Other banks more or less specialize in mortgages, right? Or a lot of people specialize in originating mortgages. Some banks specialize in credit cards, and they project themselves as a credit card lender, but in reality, they're just a bank, right? So when you see their name on something, or you see them, or other banks specialize in processing. So there's different banks that do different things and they generate revenue different ways. Credit unions obviously generate money in a whole nother way. So, when you look at the amount of assets that they have, the asset classes differ from bank to bank, depending on what it is that they do. But then when you see these banks that are involved in these large commercial deals, and that's why it's so much easier for a person with resources. Let's say somebody like Elon Musk, right? And he says, listen, I guarantee, or I put up against what it is that I own in assets in order to be able to secure these loans, because I want other participants. I don't want to fund it 100% myself. I want to secure these loans in order to buy X, or what was formerly known as Twitter. They're willing to do that because they can secure it against your assets. You see what I'm saying? They know that you're solvent. But when the asset become the very thing that's devalued now, which is some of this commercial real estate property, it then makes the bank insolvent because they can't unload that. They're not making money from that on the interest payments that come along with you financing that property.
There's only one bank with over $100 billion in assets.
One point of this analysis is to say, look, across the universe of 4,000 banks, where are the issues going to be? They are going to be in the middle to small size banks, which is by its nature less systemic. I think the issue is that a lot of these smaller banks support communities away from the coast. You're essentially hamstringing the economic development in those communities.
Well, somebody said banks make money off of running all of us broke. No, they prefer to keep you paying. That's how they make their money. They make money off of you paying your interest every single day.
First of all, even if they're smaller banks, the communities that rely on them certainly care about them.
The U.S. has about 130 banks that are considered regional banks, and collectively they control just under $3.1 trillion in assets.
The larger regional banks, they're a really important source of credit for smaller and medium-sized businesses, local governments, nonprofits.
Without regional lenders, more businesses may have to turn to big banks for services that may be more expensive and less personable, and they may not like their options.
They provide competition for the really large, mega banks, the multi-trillion-dollar banks, which is good.
For individuals, the consequences of small bank failures are more indirect.
I think we have a very stressed banking system, but the vast majority of those banks aren't insolvent or even close to insolvent. They're just stressed. Doesn't mean that communities and customers don't get hurt by that stress. The natural reaction is to not invest in the next branch or technological innovation or to make the next hire. It just hurts a community in a different way, and it hurts it more kind of subtly and gradually and over time than a bank failure.
Directly.
You know what else hurts a community? When you see all of this scamming and you see all of these people that's coming up and they saying, hey man, this is how you get a bigger credit line. This is how you do this. This is how you can get a Navy Federal credit card. When you see people ultimately default on a thing that they finessing, and you see all of these stupid TikToks and these videos of people telling you and trying to teach you how to get bigger credit lines or all of this stuff, but what you gonna do with it? I seen a guy on a video that came across my profile, and he said something like, man, I'm able to get people bigger credit lines with Chase. Normally on a regular credit line with Chase, it would be $18,000, $20,000. I'm able to get people $100,000 in credit cards. To do what? What are you doing that for? What do you need $100,000 in credit with these high interest credit card debt? So much finessing, and ultimately, this is the thing that drives a lot of banks out of business too. Seriously. Because I'm telling you, listen, it ain't going to be this. When you got to pay 26% interest on $80,000, life is going to be lifing on you. Life is going to life on you. And that's what drives a lot of these banks out of business too, because then they got to write down that debt.
It's no consequence if they're below the insured deposit limits, which are quite high now, $250,000.
That means if a bank insured by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, also known as the FDIC, goes under, all depositors will be paid up to at least $250,000 per individual, per bank, per ownership category.
FDIC's really got a strong record on this, so people should not worry.
The U.S. has the largest commercial property market globally, and banks underwrite the majority of commercial real estate loans. If you think about the banking
I'm going to read those
industry
super chats shortly. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all.
Overall, there are 4 basic types of loans: consumer loans, C&I loans, which are essentially loans to companies, residential mortgage loans, and commercial real estate loans.
Regional and smaller banks have always tended to have higher concentrations of commercial real estate.
Is less that they just made a bad decision and jumped into commercial real estate with both feet. And it's more that they just don't have the scale to compete with the largest banks in the country in consumer lending or in residential mortgage or in commercial and industrial lending. And that leaves them with a higher concentration and exposure to commercial real estate.
The markets in general are poking the banks on their exposures. How are they being managed? What are some of the stresses that they're thinking about? And most importantly, how are they reserving for those potentials?
When the Federal Reserve raises rates, commercial real estate loan payments become more expensive for borrowers. If borrowers can't afford payments, they may default on their loans.
Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell has candidly said, look, there are going to be bank failures. It's going to happen.
We have identified the banks that have high commercial real estate concentrations, and we are in dialogue with them around, do you have your arms around this problem? Do you have enough capital? Are you being truthful with yourself and with your owners?
Do y'all realize that before we get into unrealized gains, do y'all realize that they already knew that this was going to happen before the pandemic hit? Think this through. If you didn't think that the Federal Reserve and our federal government and all of these people, and they already told you, and I had been telling you when this had happened in the first place, I said, listen, y'all, it's going to be a lot of gnashing of teeth, and as they raise these rates, they already telling you that it's going to be some suffering and it's going to be some defaulting and people are going to go broke and the rate of inflation and all of this stuff. It's the only way. When I seen inflation hit 8-9%, I was like, it's over. It's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years of gnashing of teeth. And they told you, when this pandemic hit and everybody stayed home and everybody went out and they bought a whole bunch of homes and they were spending $100,000 over asking price with no inspection, and then they were saying we're going to work from home forever. You don't think that they was already planning on what was happening when it came to commercial real estate? Why do you think that mayors and governors and legislators started trying to work so feverishly with these companies to get them to go back into the office so that they wouldn't have a major default among all of the commercial real estate within their cities? Why do you think that? So listen, productivity went up. They say that productivity went up when people were working from home, yet they started to force people back into a hybrid schedule. Why do you think that happened? Why do you think that happened? If productivity went up, but they want you to go back into the office, why do you think that happens? Because we're all interconnected and then it becomes a trickle-down effect, right? Because if nobody actually goes into work, then they have no reason to go out to lunch, which then supports the small business owners. If nobody goes out to a game, then you have no reason to go out and buy a hot dog or to buy some cotton candy or a t-shirt or the vendors or, use public transportation and tax dollars and regional economic activity. I know Detroit literally just hosted the NFL draft. We broke records every single day that the NFL draft was here, right? The economic impact is major. If you don't think that I see so many people, I was just riding on the People Mover yesterday, right? And I went and visited a new restaurant that was called Gillies. Gillies is the new hot spot that was created by Dan Gilbert, and it opened around the same time that the NFL draft was here, right? And Dan Gilbert, it was created in honor of his son that passed away, and it was popping. And I talked to a couple people there, and some of the people there are people that flew back that came in for the draft and said that I'm here to prospect. And me and Rita was looking like, prospect what? And I asked him, I said, prospect what? He says, oh, we thinking about investing here. And so the economic impact of having people participating, going outside, spending money, interacting with each other, going on dates, creating businesses, and then the trickle-down effect of what happens when you are out there and active. Detroit did one of the smartest things ever. They made all of the public transportation, especially down in this regional area, free. People Mover was free. The Q line is free. All of that stuff is free. So they made it easier for you to be able to get around the city and do what it is that you wanted to do instead of being hamstrung by how much it costs for you to do so. And what that did was it spurred additional economic activity that ultimately went inside of the city's coffers. And so now you see all of these buildings going up and all of these people are starting to rent places, and people like me is moving back down in the city and getting corporate offices. First I started and I got my office down here, and now my building is completely rented out. And then I went down and I got a corporate penthouse, and now there's more money going over there. Right next to my building, they broke ground right after the NFL draft, and they building a brand new hotel and more residences and more housing. What I'm telling you is that everything that we do is interconnected when it comes to the success of an economy, of a city, of a state, all of that. They don't just tell you to come back into the office because it's good for work culture. They telling you to go back into the office because other people have a vested interest in you being there. Let me read some of the super chats and then we're going to get on with the show. I got one more segment that I want to share with you guys because I want to make sure that we getting it in and that you guys really listen. If y'all not a part of the Patreon, if y'all didn't see Stock Club today, and I'm re-uploading it today, this afternoon, in order for y'all to be able to restream it. If y'all didn't see Stock Club today, then you really are missing out. Honest to God. Like seriously, you really missing out. And so let me go ahead and read some of these super. Oh man, y'all crazy out here. King Manasseh says, good morning, Todd and Dog. This is just because I rock with you. I also been wondering if I should pivot. I've been working on my certification to become a data analyst. I don't think that it's necessarily that you should pivot. I think we got to start thinking in the and, not or. It's an and, not or. I'm sitting here and I got my computer right there. I didn't pivot. I added to. You know what I'm saying? So you need to make sure that you're working on the thing that also is going to pay you in 5 to 10 years in addition to the thing that's feeding you today. So it's not that you should pivot. You should make sure that you continue to level up. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you. I appreciate you, big dog. Thank you for contributing into the platform. I got to give my guy a round of applause. Shout out to Brian Banks. Behold how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Thank you, Anton, for your words and how you pour into everyone, as I also had signed up for a year to get to that bag. And can this also go to that brother as well? Absolutely, it sure can. 100%. Hey, y'all also know that y'all can actually directly send it to him too. So I did highlight his Cash App. So I'm going to send another 50 to him real quick, real quick. Because you requested for me to do so. And so I'm going to show you the proof. Oh, shoot. Shit. All right, I sent $50 to the wrong person. I sent 50. That's all right. Well, you just be blessed too. All right, so I'm going to send another 50. All right, so I'm going to send another 50. So Ali Collins. God bless you. God bless you, Ollie Collins. And I just sent another 50 to Jamal Fowler right there. All right? Another 50. There you go. All right, so shout out to everybody that's holding them down. Y'all can send it directly to Jamal. Shout out to Jamal. I just sent another 50 to Ollie Collins. I don't know what's going on. We just love on people here. That's just the way life is. That's the way life goes. And it just goes like that. That's just the way we love on each other. I'm not tripping on that. I'm not tripping off that. It's $50. We bless people. Maybe it was meant for him to have it. It just is what it is. All right, shout out to my dog. I appreciate you, big dog. Let me read a couple of more super chats. Let's see. I Need Money 38 says, this is extremely overdue for the amount of value you continue to deliver on a daily basis. Continue to elevate and hold the culture accountable. Shout out to my guy. I Need Money 38. Lyric the Gamer says, been a bag chaser for 4 months. This is one of the reasons why I left Louisiana. They too lazy to get to the bag and always relying on other people's resources. Thank you, AD, for the motivative video last night. Shout out to my guy, Lyric the Gamer. I appreciate you. Oh, man, look at this nonsense. I don't know what to do. What should I do? Just showing love. Tomorrow, I'm chilling at Miami F1 race. AD, you have to come to a race. We got the Grand Prix coming here in Detroit. I think it's like 2 weeks from now. I'm going to come to the F1. When is the F1 race? Tomorrow? It's coming tomorrow? I can't come tomorrow because I got my girl Mika coming in tomorrow. Oh, man. Shout out to my guy, Miami-Dade County Kirkland Courts. I appreciate you, big dog. Chris Moore is in the building, said I got that 5 on it. Shout out to my dog, Chris Moore. DJ Kane says, we do got black banks, Lloyd Banks. Shout out to Lloyd Banks from G-Unit. I got my girl. Shout out to my girl, sister. Excellent explanation, AD. Thank you, sis. I appreciate you. Also says, Mr. AD, the banks have mastered the subscription model. They have. And every time that y'all get a direct deposit, that's why they incentivize y'all to do so. Shout out to my dog Artifacts in here showing love with the super sticker. I appreciate you, Artifacts. Thank you, my friend. Thank you to everybody, every single person that contributed into the platform. I don't know what's going to happen on this show on a day-to-day basis. I don't know what's going to happen on this show on a day-to-day basis. What did Ollie Collins say? What is Ollie Collins saying? Hold on, Ollie. Ollie, why you send it back? Bro, I was blessing you. We just got, our people in this community is too good. The people in this community is too good. Listen, man, I love y'all. I genuinely love y'all. It's so hard to even get to certain segments of the show because we got so much love for each other. All right, y'all. All right, we got to focus. We got to focus. All right, one more segment. You know I like to highlight content creators, right? And so because I like to highlight content creators and because I like to show so much love, I want to highlight a woman that basically is saying she's having problems in the job market, okay? She's having problems in the job market. Now, I'm thinking that before I actually play her video, because I haven't actually seen her video yet, so I'm winging it. I'm going to tell y'all right now, I'm winging it. Before I play her video, I'm going to play a video that I played on Anton Daniels' channel about the post office, okay? So let me play this video first. So this is over in the Bay Area, but this is all across the entire nation. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications, all right?
Whether you're at the local post office or they come to your home to deliver your mail, postal workers are part of our neighborhood. You may even know them by name. Their jobs are important, but not always easy. In fact, recently, they have become targets for thieves, and in some cases, even being attacked on the job. Right now, the Postal Service is trying to fill 600 positions. It even held a job fair in Menlo Park today. Our Amanda Harry caught up.
And this is just over in the Bay Area. This is just over in the Bay Area, all right? But this is happening all across the country.
Up with Jada, one of the applicants.
Shout out to my girl Q. What up, Q?
Who is holding out hope for a new career despite some of the occupational hazards.
Managers with the United States Postal Service say they are looking to hire as many people as possible. They say they're severely understaffed, meaning many people have to work overtime, leaving them tired and possibly more at risk.
Yep, we're hiring.
I know it's a good job that you have for a long time.
Jada Reese stopped by the Menlo Park post office to send out a package when she stumbled upon the post.
Hey, shout out to the ladies pulling up in a t-shirt with no panties on. That got no bra. Shout out to the ladies that's pulling up with no bra out here in these streets. No undershirt, no nothing. They just got the tank top on. And they said, we pulling up to get us a job, y'all.
Postal Service career fair. So she took her chances and filled out an application.
I was told that there's a lot of opportunities for career advancement. I have a pretty good relationship with the carriers in my community, so I figured it would be like a good way to get some work experience and like be connected to the community.
Reese says she's looking for a job that has the potential to become a career, and that working for USPS fits the bill. Right now, Post Office Operations Manager Riza Yumel says they don't have enough staff to work efficiently, and they're looking to fill hundreds of positions for essential employees.
We have a lot going on, as I said, mail handler, clerks, even custodians and carriers, so we are hiring right now.
This is surveillance video from an alleged robbery that took place in Oakland last month. USPS says the suspect didn't take any mail, just the postal keys. Those keys can be used to open potentially thousands of mailboxes. Yumel says they try to give their employees training to hopefully avoid becoming victims of mail theft.
When we hire people, that's the first thing we do. We make sure that they know about safety, they have trainings. We make it a point to be with the new carriers every day for the first 2 weeks, and then after that, every week until probation.
USPS says mail theft is a federal and state crime. They offer a $150,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest of a suspect in these types of cases. But Reese says she's not going to let these incidents stop her from pursuing a career with USPS.
I hope that my life is not like, gonna be
She got front teeth. Why y'all acting like she ain't got no front teeth? I'm looking at her front teeth right now. Come on, y'all. Y'all gotta cut some slack. This girl is coming in there to get a job. All right? Ain't nothing wrong with that. She got front teeth. I just seen her front teeth.
affected by it, but I think it's something that you have to assess risk with anything.
It may be a little rough, but she got them.
You do. Yeah, I think that would probably have to be like a fluke sort of thing.
Interested applicants can...
All right, so in a general sense, it's plenty, and it's not just the USPS. It's a lot of places that's like, yo, come over here, hire us, rock out with us, or whatever. So it's a lot of jobs that's available, but what I'm thinking is that it's not the jobs that y'all say that y'all want. Everybody want to chill. Everybody want to work from home. Y'all don't want to go out here and do the same thing that men have been doing for an extended period of time. And so what they saying is, ain't no jobs. The market is so saturated. We want to just chill. I think that if you really wanted to work, and I haven't even seen her video yet, I believe that if you really wanted to work, you could find a job. But that's not what you want to do. I don't think y'all want to do the jobs that men do. I don't think y'all want to go out there and hustle anymore. I think y'all really want to live the soft life. It's a lot of people that have a lot of opportunity and y'all don't want these jobs. I mean, the post office themselves are begging for y'all to come in there. And y'all like, no, we ain't doing it. We not doing it. We can get them jobs to the migrants. Okay. Well, like I said, this woman, her name is Ari, A-I-R-E, Anatoni. All right. I always like to give credit to the content creators. As of the recording of this video, 387 subscribers. So if you guys go over there and show love and say that you found her through the Anton Daniels channel, again, I don't know whether or not this is going to be good content or not, but that's her name. You can go over there and check out her platform. I like to give credit to the content creators. This is her saying that it is difficult to find employment in a job market today. All right. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Let's get to it. Oh, no,
Tony, back with another video. If you are a new viewer, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out a whole lot, so let's get into the video. I live in Washington. It is raining very hard at this moment, and the rain is back, and I'm not even kidding. I'm kind of feeling some type of way about it, but it is what it is. It rains here. But if you hear droplets in the background, or it sounds like you kind of are hearing the noise from some type of...
Get some more water. I can hear.
If you're hearing the noise from the rain, that's the reason, because it is raining here. But I wanted to make an updated video about job searching, because I honestly thought I was completely insane and thought I was losing my mind when it came to how this job market is. And I will admit that this job market at this moment and at this time is just not the best. I have had times in my life to where I've been unemployed, and job searching back then compared to now has completely made a big shift compared to looking for jobs back then. I've always was able to get a job compared to now very quickly. When it comes to doing my job search, I would apply to not only one job, but I would apply to several jobs, get interviews, etc. And I feel like employers back then, and also just probably has something to do with how the world is going, and I believe we are in inflation right now, so that probably has something to do with the job market being as bad as it is right now. But back then, when it came to job searching and job searching now, there's a big difference, and I'm just going to give you guys some tips on what I did this go around when it came to looking for jobs and just what I've gone through, so you can just see what I'm talking about. And I wanted to talk about this because I watch YouTube videos a lot, and I've been seeing compilations getting posted more recently of people experiencing the same thing, because I honestly just thought I was the only person that was going through rejection after rejection after rejection. And honestly, I feel like I honestly just thought it was me. at first, you know, like I can't lie, like when you go, I'm not gonna lie, like when you go on several interviews, you kind of get burnt out. And just the way some of these employers are doing the interviews nowadays, it's a very, like, some of them do like a very long drawn out process to the point where it's just like, I don't even want the job anymore, or I'm interviewing over here, this employer, I'm also considering this other employer, you know what I mean? I just feel like jobs are doing the most when it comes to hiring these candidates. And I understand it, but at the same time I don't, because we all need to work. And I know there's some people out there that don't want to work, but a lot of us need to pay our bills and a lot of us need to work. So
is it the type of jobs that y'all applying for where y'all saying y'all can't find anything? Or is it the fact that y'all not networking effectively? Or is it the fact that y'all only relying on online postings? Or maybe your resume is not up to date? Or maybe your LinkedIn is not a reflection of your resume? Or maybe you're not tapping into the resources? And here's another thing. How is it that all of these people keep applying to different jobs all the time? Because one of the things that she said in the beginning was, you know, I always used to be able to find a job. And I don't know her personal circumstances. Shout out to Artifacts. I appreciate you. I'm going to read that shortly. I don't know her personal circumstances. But then my question then becomes, why do y'all always be needing a job? Or how do y'all always be in between jobs? Like, what caused you to quit the last job, go without a job, and then have to go and get another job? You know what I'm saying? So there's so many questions, but again, I'm going to be open-minded and I want to hear what she got to say, and then we're going to go from there.
Just by making it difficult for some of us to get employment, it just ends up being very frustrating. But I would just say, going back to just the difference of how it was back then compared to now when it came to, you know, just a simple job search, it has changed completely. I've always used Indeed's platform to look for jobs. I've tried to branch out using apps like, or sites like ZipRecruiter and things like that, but I feel like Indeed has always been the app where I've always gotten steady employment just using Indeed.com. So back then I would apply for jobs, and I feel like the longest back then, if I were unemployed, probably for like maybe like 5-6 months, or probably even less than that. I don't remember, but I know it was less than what I've been unemployed more recently. And I've always gotten a job, I feel like, a lot quicker compared to now.
How do y'all be unemployed? Like, bro, I haven't gone without working. Well, I retired in 2019. And so that gap, but that's different. You know what I'm saying? That's not, oh man, I'm just, you know, worried about the job market or something like that. I was actually looking to retire for the rest of my life or whatever. But outside of that lull, that gap of when I retired away from Comerica Bank in 2019 and then wound up taking whatever this is right now, I don't remember not being without a position since like 2008 recession. I don't understand how y'all go without positions or y'all go without jobs and stuff. Like, y'all be out of work for like 5 or 6 months at a time, multiple times throughout the years. It's crazy to me, bro.
But I would just say this go around, I was unemployed for a lot longer because the job market is not the best and it's super competitive. Employers, what I've dealt with when it came to this go around, when it comes to looking for a job, is that employers are asking really silly questions. They're, you know, keeping the phone screening process in just due to COVID. They're doing the phone screening to where they're asking questions about your resume. And then they're like, oh, we will get back to you. And if you get a call, then the next steps might be a video or Zoom call. And then they'll do it in person, or they might just do it, go straight into the in-person. So I feel like a lot of these employers are drawing or making the interviewing process a lot longer. And they're also being very picky, as they kind of should, but at the same time, I feel like there's a difference between being picky and being too picky. But they're being very picky when it comes to the people that they want to hire. They're kind of...
How can you be too picky? When the market is saturated, then you can afford to be a little bit more picky because you know that there's plenty of people that's looking for these particular positions, right? And again, maybe it's just the areas that they're in and all of this stuff. But you can't really be too picky when you have a host of candidates. You get the best available candidate, right? But when there's scarcity, then you start to allow for people to come in that you normally wouldn't take that you wouldn't even take into consideration. Then you're less picky. And so I think that she's probably conflating, or she's dealing with trying to wrestle with the idea of what the difference is between the job market of yesteryear and the job market today. It's two different markets. And so, you know, that's the difference.
Searching for people that are, you know, have experience for like 20, 40 plus years. They're looking in your resume for gaps. They feel like if you have too long of gaps, then there's an issue, but then they don't realize that it's like, you know, they don't turn around and realize what the world is in right now. Like, we are all going through it. It's inflation, you know what I mean? Like, everybody is having a hard time at this point, and I feel like a lot of employers don't take that into consideration. And I feel like a lot of the questions I would get asked to when it came to some of these employers, like, I honestly would just have to keep an open mind, because I didn't know what type of questions I would be answered on these interviews. And I'm used to, especially back in the day, of employers just asking just standardized questions about my resume, my experience, just normal questions. But I just feel like nowadays, like, some employers are kind of sticking to that script, but a lot of employers are venturing off, and I feel like they're Googling these crazy questions. Like, I've asked, like, or employers have asked me, oh, how would your past managers rate you? And just silly questions like that. And I'm just like, what?
I don't really understand why that's a silly question. Look, any job interview that I've ever been on as a formality, most of the time, is multiple different interviews at the same time. Hello.
Hello, my name is Caitlin. I'm your DoorDasher. I'm just curious how I get into the building, because it sent me to the front and the door is locked.
Yeah, you got to come in.
Like, right next to the McDonald's.
Yeah, you can come in through the back of the building, and the security guard will be down there, and then he'll let you right up.
To go to the back side of the building?
Yes, ma'am. It's a door in the back of the building. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
All right. A lot of times what these DoorDash drivers do is they pause for a long time, right? I can't get into the front of the building. The instructions clearly say come to the back with the security guard, right? And so they pause for a long time after you explain it, because they want you to say this. This is what they want you to do. All right, you know what? I'll come down there and get it. No, bring your butt up to the office and bring me my DoorDash. They want me to say, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'm going to come down there. No, you're going to come up here. You're going to do your job. You're going to bring me that DoorDash. I'm going to tip you well. And that's going to be the end of the conversation. Read the instructions, bro. Good God.
What the heck is going on? You know what I mean? And I'm not going to lie.
Hey, don't be complaining that all of my DoorDashers are women. I wish I could. If I could put a preference on my app, only women DoorDashers. Only women DoorDashers, I would do that. I think y'all would make a whole lot more money like that, right?
I was feeling very, very defeated at the time, because I just feel like I was doing everything in my power to be able to get a job, and I feel like it was just not happening for me. And I feel like when you've been unemployed for 6, 7, 8 months, or even 9 months, to like almost just throughout that long period of time, I just feel like you get to the point where you hit a wall and you're just like, is there something that I'm doing wrong? And you really just start questioning everything. But I feel like the whole time,
she must have got out of it.
I just kept going. And I would just say, that's what I recommend. You might experience hardships when it comes to looking for jobs in the job market, but I recommend just keep going. And
how do y'all feed
even if you want one particular job, I would just say, just be on, because Indeed is the only app that I use. So I would just say use whatever job platform that you want to use, and just be on it when it comes to checking it. Check it multiple times a day to see what job postings are out there. And just try to be one of the first ones to get in there when it comes to applying, because there are several candidates that do apply to one job, and they have to go through all of those candidates. And I feel like nowadays employers are probably also like, oh, we don't want to hire the wrong candidate. We might get somebody that wants to stay with the job for like 5 seconds, and then the job posting goes back up. And that's another thing that would happen, where I would interview for jobs, and then I would see the job posting go back up, or there would be several employers that would ghost me and not update me about my application process or the interview process. Or there would be employers like, oh, we decided to hire within, or, oh, you have to do this skills test, and if you don't get a perfect score for this skill test, you're not going to move on within the job. Like, kid you not, I feel like I went through all of the crazy scenarios that somebody would go through when it comes to looking for a job, and I feel like I was just like, what the heck is going on? Eventually, since I am working at this moment, I would say the best thing that worked for me at this moment was going through a staffing agency. And I would say the staffing agency, I believe, for the assignment that I'm working with now, I believe it is attempt to hire, but I'm still having an open mind, because I don't want to just think that I'm going to be hired on, but I believe that that is what the position that I am doing now. I believe it is a temp to hire, and I believe I am going to be employed by the temp agency for a certain amount of time, and I believe I'm going to be hired on to the job that I am working at. But like I said, I'm just not going to assume, but we'll see. But I went through a temp agency because I just felt like I had no other options. And I'm not gonna lie, I've always worked straight with employers, applied and worked straight with employers and got in there and worked with a company. There was like one other time I went through a temp agency and I did not get my contract extended, and I felt some type of way about it, but I feel like everything happens for a reason, and that was a long time ago. So this is like the second go around where I've worked with a temp agency, and I would just say, or a staffing agency, I would say this is like the best experience I've ever had working with a staffing agency compared to the last time, because I feel like it was a faster turnaround, and I feel like the recruiter.
Why do people say I feel like? Y'all gotta listen to yourself and then make adjustments when you see things going a certain way. Hey, here you go. No, you fine. Thank you, baby.
You're welcome. Is there straws in the bag? Thank you so much.
Thank you, babe. You too. Anyways, so yeah, man, it's about the type of job I think that you go for and the things that you looking for. I am always curious about the additional details and context. I don't expect to get it all in one YouTube video or something like that, but yeah, man, I think that there are positions out here. It just depends on what you're going for and what you're going into. A lot of y'all need to look for a career. All of that job hopping, having 10 different things on your resume within the last year and a half is crazy, bro. It's crazy. All right. Y'all said tell her, Glow Hardy said tell her AD. Jesus Christ. Let me read the rest of these super chats and I'm going to get y'all up out of here today. Y'all crazy, man. Shout out to her. Make sure y'all go and check out her channel and show her some love. So Glow says, hold on, let me see what Glow said. Tell her Glow Hardy said hi. She was a snow bunny. Y'all like them snow bunnies? I mean, she was cute. She was cute, but she had a tattoo on her neck. A snow bunny that got tattoos on her neck. Nah, I don't care. Nah, bro. And she had on Crocs. I guess Crocs is also a good thing for y'all to deliver in or something like that. I don't know. Glow? No. Let these people, listen, y'all better let these people do their job. Let them do their job. You can't have, I don't like that. I don't like snow bunnies with tattoos on their neck. Nah, I'm good. Anyways, let me continue. Let me continue on with the show. Grayway says, give AD his 30 M's. The world needs this dude. Shout out to the Grayway. Give me my 30 M's. Yeah. Oh, he got it right. Shout out to my dog Grayway. I appreciate you, big dog. Always holding me down. Yes. Let me see what else we got over here. Melvin Johnson says, digital key cards are coming, and that can be cut off via AI. Okay. All right. I feel that. Artifacts is in the building, says, I got that super sticker. Hold on. He didn't just throw that super sticker. He threw another super sticker out here in these streets. He said, I got another super sticker for you, big dog. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you, Artifacts. Phil Knight says, Anton, we are trying to live the soft life. The impromptu streams by Cellbrid and you from last night was great. I was not planning on streaming last night. I was about to go to sleep. I had just texted your car. I said, nope, I'm not streaming tonight. I went to sleep for 5 minutes, and then I woke up, and I got that little voice in my head. So I was like, all right, cool, let's get it. Thinking Thoreau says, for that word last night, B. Taylor needed your covering. Some wild things happening on the internet. Phil Knight says, people forget one of the best job boards is a state work unemployment office. Aha. Same jobs posted elsewhere is on there. That's good. That is dope. AD, she said too much in an interview. Motor Mouth. Anthony Wright Network. Shout out to the Anthony Wright Network in the building. He says, AD, I thought it was me, but this generation is weak and don't want to work. I will definitely double down on being lazy. I agree. I absolutely agree with that. Shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to everybody that held me down. Shout out to all of the people that supported me on multiple different platforms, including all of the PayPals and the Cash Apps. And shout out to y'all, man. I love y'all. I'm looking forward to seeing Quentin tonight on After Hours. It's Thursday, right? It's Thursday's mine? Should I take Thursday off? Because I know that Mika going to be here tomorrow. I don't know. I'm going to probably do After Hours. I'm not even going to cap. I may or may not. Who knows? Impromptu. You got to make sure you subscribe to the channel. But more importantly, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. The link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat for y'all to be able to align yourself with a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace. Hey, maybe I should bring back my end screen. Y'all think I should bring back my end screen, the ending of the show? We'll talk about it later. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.